Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of This Week in Niche Pursuits News. And wouldn't you know it, but Google is expanding the AI overviews. And so that's the big news story that we're going to dive into here today. What that means, how that might change search. And actually, we have a survey that is a little bit of a commentary on Google overall. And so that's a second news story that we're going to dig into here as well. And then Jared and I will both share a couple of side hustles that we're working on. I have a side hustle that I've been doing for a long time, but it's still going well. So I have a big update on that. Actually had a record month last month. And so I'll talk about that just a little bit. And then two weird niche sites, both of which are weird and getting a lot of traffic. So I know sometimes we cover some sites that are just weird and not doing very well. These are both actually doing really, really well and probably making a significant amount of money. So Jared, it's good to see you again. We were just chatting. It's been a month or maybe more.
Maybe more. I don't know. I can't remember the last time you and I were together here. So
yeah. Yep. It's been a little while. So it's good to reconnect. And we're going to jump right into the news if you're ready for it.
Let's do it.
Okay. So as mentioned, Google made an announcement just today or yesterday, I believe it was, in the last 24 hours, that they are going to expand AI overviews, and they're introducing something called AI mode, right? And so it's using Gemini 2.0 for a little bit more advanced queries. So solving math problems, sort of multi-step questions that you might have is going to be what this AI mode is. Essentially, what it sounds like on the surface is that, like, hey, all your answers are coming from AI, and there's maybe some links in the AI, but kind of it's just pushing out organic search results altogether, at least when you're in full AI mode. And so I will just say that this AI mode is in test phase or beta phase only. So it's for what they call power users. You can opt into this to test it out. You can go to Search Labs and you can test out what the AI mode looks like and this expanded AI overviews looks like. And then they'll be rolling it out, I assume, as they test these things and tweak it. They're going to be rolling it out further. I have not had a chance to go into Search Labs and turn it on and test it out. Jared, have you had a chance to test it out at all?
It was on my list to do this morning. Didn't get around to it. I wish I had.
Yeah. But you can see a couple of just examples on the screen that I'm showing here. It's supposed to be more helpful for multi-step questions, in-depth questions, the follow-up questions, kind of like what we've gotten used to chat being all about. Is you can just follow up to all your questions and the chat bot understands. And so they're expanding that a little bit more with Google. And then the other thing, before we have our commentary here, which I'm sure both of us have strong opinions on this, is I will just, of course, show that Sundar Pichai has tweeted out saying that, here's his first sentence, AI overviews are one of our most popular search features ever. They keep getting better as the models improve, and now Gemini 2.0 is powering responses for coding, advanced math, multimodal queries in the US, and more. And then he announces, hey, now we're expanding this AI mode, right? So I guess maybe we move into the commentary at this point. So that's the big announcement. Just this first sentence of AI overviews are the most popular search feature ever. My first thought is, well, did users actually have a choice in the matter, right? In other words, AI overviews is turned on. So of course it's being used and has been adopted quickly because, well, it was sort of forced upon us, right? You have really no other option other than scrolling past it. So take that with a grain of salt in terms of AI overviews being the most popular search feature ever, because, well, we kind of had to use that. That's my short thoughts. Jared, I'll let you jump in. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, a couple things kind of to piggyback off that. That would be my first comment is we're about to feature a story next that talks about how satisfaction in Google in general is decreasing and lowering. And we've talked about that in the podcast frequently, but we have more data that would suggest satisfaction has gone down even more since the last data point we had. And so it's hard to have real data points like that up against the CEO saying that AI overviews is the most popular feature they've had. Now I get they're a little different, right? Popularity in Google versus popularity in a specific feature of Google. But, and then it plays upon something I've heard a lot of people talk about since this announcement came out. The one thing that caught my eye, and then when I was on Twitter kind of reading other people's perspectives, seems to have caught other people's eyes too. And it's, if you go back to that blog post from Google, they say, introducing our new AI mode experiment in search. As we've rolled out AI overviews, we've heard from power users that they want AI responses. And I mean, it's such a vague and weird thing that makes no sense. And like, who are the power users of Google? And
Right.
and who's shaping this direction that they're going? And why are they saying things like power users? And how does that play into the whole idea of what's popular and what's not? It struck me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, clearly AI has just been so popular. Every quarterly call that they have, the CEO talks about AI. They want to show that they're investing in AI and that they're at the forefront. And this is just another step forward. And unfortunately, it is one of those things that sort of the doomsayers of Google are talking about in terms of, bloggers, of like AI is taking over all the real estate for organic search results. And this appears to be another step down that path of now there's going to be this AI mode where you just search in this AI mode and you're really not served up the traditional organic search results. Yes, there's probably going to be some links and references, but it, at least up front, it doesn't look like a great, thing, because AIs are going to be generating the answers instead of the individual bloggers. So that's sort of one of those things that may be unfortunate for those that are producing content. How far is this going to take it? Where is this going to go? Again, we don't know.
I mean, we featured the story last week about how Gemini actually does put many more links in their responses than ChatGPT does. I think 2 or 3 times more. So there's that.
Yes.
I think this just expands on this ongoing challenge that Google is having. And I'm not saying this is a challenge. As a user, I could see this being a little bit convenient, right? Like I do have times when I'm in ChatGPT where I was like, oh, I need more of a search functionality. I know they have that, but I would like it here in my chat. There's times when I'm in Google and I'm Googling something and then I'm like, oh, I could really use the ability to ask a follow-up question here. So I can see from a user it being potentially beneficial. I think the bigger, broader challenge, and again, we'll talk about it in the next article that we're talking about as well, but before AI was in the SERP results for Google, they could kind of offload problems in responses to the individual domain owners. If I'm Googling what time is sunset in so-and-so, and in the olden days, they would send me to a website to get that answer, and that was wrong, I'd blame that website. I wouldn't hold Google accountable. And then they started ingesting a lot of those answers we saw in featured snippets, and people also ask. And then now we have these AI overviews. And now they're becoming kind of, the judge, jury, executioner for everything here. And when the answers are wrong or when they don't satisfy, now Google's going to get blamed for that going forward. I'm just curious how that plays out. This is another step in the direction of Google kind of owning not only our content, but kind of owning the answers and the weight of those answers for people who are using SERPs.
Right. That's a really good point, a really good question, right? Especially as we see antitrust lawsuits and other things happening when Google is controlling even more, right? What sort of responsibility will they have to take for incorrect answers or things of that nature? So we'll continue chatting about that. But I do believe that dovetails in really well with this next article that we're going to cover. On one hand, you have the CEO of Google saying that, AI is the most popular, search feature of all time, most widely adopted. And then we have this survey of actual users that shows that 42% of people say Google search is becoming less useful, right? On the other hand, so more than half of respondents also said that they rely on their community for information rather than Google or other search engines. And they also mention in this survey that people are relying more on AI chatbots, and in particular, younger generation. It says that 61% of Gen Z and 53% of millennials are using AI tools instead of Google or other traditional search engines, right? And so a lot of people are saying Google is actually way less useful. 42% of people that responded to this particular survey conducted by Vox Media, are saying, hey, it's less useful, and they're going to other places. 55% are getting information from their community, more than online search platforms. 52% said they use AI chatbots or alternative platforms like TikTok for information instead of Google. And 66% said the quality of information is deteriorating, making it difficult to find reliable sources.
I think this is interesting on a number of levels. I think if you're Google, you would respond to this perhaps by saying, almost to Sundar Pichai's, what he was saying, like, it's not Google that people have a problem with. It's the model of searching for content, the search engine model. In the old-fashioned, antiquated way of doing it is what people are rebelling against. And so I think he would argue it that way. I think we would say, no, I think Google, the results, the actual core functionality of using search has gotten worse and has gotten polluted with a whole lot of real estate being given to Google's bottom line, their profits, right? Only 14% described Google search shopping results, sponsored, promoted results as very helpful. I'm surprised that number's that high, frankly. 14%. I mean, there's nothing helpful about it. It's just a big real estate suck.
Yeah, exactly. So I wish I could remember who tweeted this out, but somebody had a really interesting perspective that is related to all of this, that basically they were showing sort of two different announcements from Google. One was essentially what we just showed, that Google is moving, traditional search is moving more and more towards artificial intelligence. They talk about this on their quarterly calls. AI is mentioned all over the place.
Yep.
The advancements in AI, the integration of AI. Search is now AI. It's becoming, integrated. On the other hand, there was announcements from YouTube and sort of how they're expanding their platform and their big plans. And it's all about the creators. If you read that document, it mentions how important the creators are and promoting the creators and finding new creators and bubbling up channels that don't have very many subscribers to introduce people to new creators, right? And so it's just really interesting that Google is the same company, and they essentially have two search engines, but they treat them very, very differently. One, for whatever reason, they're going all in on AI and kind of ignoring all of the creators, the bloggers, the people that write the content. And on the other hand, you have YouTube, which is the number 2 search engine in the world, and Google is embracing the creators. And so it's different teams, different perspectives, and it's just fascinating that it's happening within the same company.
It's a great share. You're exactly right. And I would almost second that, Spencer, by asking, where are you putting a lot of your time these days?
Yeah, I am definitely putting a lot of my time on YouTube. Right?
Where creators are getting rewarded right now, among other places, by the way, but certainly inside of the Google ecosystem, YouTube is where creators are getting rewarded.
Yeah, exactly. Because it still is working like Google used to. Like, if you produce
content, people like it.
Great
it gets
content,
pushed up in the algorithm, and good things happen.
Exactly right. And I'm seeing a lot of growth on YouTube right now. And it's not because I'm, sort of gaming the system or doing anything like that. I know what kind of content my audience likes to consume, and I'm producing, what I think are good videos. Um, Unfortunately, I can't say that that's the same, right? I could publish the exact same content in written form, which is still great. You could read it all. In fact, in written form, might even be better in some ways than the videos I'm producing, because you could click on the links to the websites, and you could spend more time analyzing everything I've done. But if I wrote out a written article on the same subject, Google would not surface it. They would not show it in Google Discover. They would not, show it in their search engines. And so Google just sort of ignores, unfortunately, a lot of content that they could be showing to users that users would find fascinating.
Well, actually, what they'd do is they would crawl it, maybe index it, and then take it and use it in their AI overviews and now the new AI mode.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. It's a sad state of affairs. That's exactly right. So,
but to your point, and I think perhaps just again, as you're listening to this, content creation is always evolving, whether we like it or not. And there is a lot of opportunity for right now in other platforms and other mediums. And you're certainly experiencing that in YouTube. We'll talk about some others in our weird niche segment, some other places where content is being rewarded. And so, I kind of talked a little bit about this in my email this week on Weekend Growth, but this idea of like, hey, we don't want to be stuck in our ways, even though if we don't have a choice. And so there are ways to adapt and grow. And you're showing it with YouTube, and there's lots of other examples out there of other platforms too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now video is hot, right? In terms of, like this survey is showing, Gen Z, millennials are using other platforms like TikTok, YouTube, etc. And so if you're able to take some of your written content and sort of translate in that into a video script and be able to just sit in front of the camera and even just talk. I mean, that's essentially all my videos are, is just what you see here. It's just talking head, right? I just write out a script and read it. You can get a lot of reach, and you can get a lot of followers, and you can gain a lot of influence, a lot of email subscribers if you have a call to action in your videos. So if you are a blogger, I would strongly encourage people to turn those into video scripts, and if nothing else, just read those on camera. And then when you get a little more advanced, add a few elements, some B-roll, some other things, eat a bowl of honeycombs or something on camera. Anyways, I do that from time to time on my YouTube videos. So had to throw that in there.
Hey,
yes.
One final question on this article here. I think we have a minute or two. It said, let's see, let me find it. 55% said they get their information from their community more than online search platforms. So when I hear community, obviously I'm a digital marketer. I immediately think of places like Reddit and Quora, right? Like community places. But as I read that, I'm not sure, are they referring to online communities, or do you think they're referring to non-online communities, actual communities, like going back to the old school way of
that's a good
talking
question
to your community?
That is a really good question, because it does not specify that. So I don't know.
I know.
I don't know if that's all encompassing, or
could be, yeah.
Actual in-person communities that you're associated with.
I feel like it's online communities, but I'm just guessing. So they get their information from their community more than online search platforms, right? So they're drawing that distinction between online search platforms, but I don't know.
Boy, and this is just such a deep topic that we can't even scratch the surface about. Where do you get your information from? What information do you trust? What's going to lead you to the right information, right? Just because there is so many differing opinions and sources of information, and that's just a huge topic beyond what we can cover here in the podcast. But knowing where people are getting the source of their information is important to know, especially as a content creator. So, very good. We have one final news topic here to share today, and it's one, as you mentioned, was actually shared by Thomas, our other co-host. Thomas is an expert in artificial intelligence. So of course he's the one that found this,
He
saying
can't take
that
a week off. Even when he has a week off, he just still has to,
he's
he's still
finding them.
working.
The wheels are turning, and good for him, man. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. So the headline here: DeepSeek's AI style matches Chat GPT's 74% of the time, according to a new study. And without going into too much depth, essentially what it's saying here that 74% of the time, DeepSeek's written text matches the style and sort of substance of OpenAI's ChatGPT, and it does not match others.
Correct.
So Claude, Gemini, Llama, etc., other models. So it would appear on the surface, I mean, it seems pretty obvious that DeepSeek probably used ChatGPT to train its own model, because the answers that it's producing are in the same style, similar content, 74% of the time. So no wonder they could do it so cheaply. They just piggybacked off of ChatGPT, right?
And so fast. I mean, they created it in
And so
record
fast.
time. And it's crazy because, I mean, Thomas surmised this when we first talked about the DeepSeek launch and kind of had his eyebrows raised at how fast and how cheap it was made. But the general public, I mean, remember the huge NVIDIA stock plummet, and like the markets responded to this, and governments responded to this. And this was a big deal, not just in the AI community, but the broader community at large. And so then to see something like this come out, which I agree is pretty substantive, it's not like a back of the napkin kind of math. Like they really analyzed and found these similarities. So I'd say, does it have implications? Perhaps not too much for you. You probably haven't started using DeepSeek yet. Probably most people haven't really adopted it. But in terms of implications beyond that, it's really interesting to think through, like the effects the DeepSeek launch had, and then what does this mean for that?
Right. Exactly. And we don't know where it's going to end up and where it's going to go, but DeepSeek was the #1 downloaded app, I think, for like a week as soon as they made their announcement.
Yeah.
And so now essentially you're getting, well, it looks like you're getting ChatGPT Lite or something like that when you downloaded that. Maybe this is going to cause DeepSeek to fall out of popularity, if nothing else. So potentially a lot of implications going forward, but there you go. That's the headline. That's the news. So if you put all your eggs in the DeepSeek basket, at least you know maybe where they got a lot of their training data now.
I mean, it brings up a lot we can save for another conversation, but AI built on AI, models built on models, ethical considerations, et cetera, et cetera. But
yep, the copy of the
we've
copy
done enough pontificating this week already, so
yeah, exactly. Let's get to the results. Let's get to the hard and fast results that we can share from our own business.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
There you go.
So we are going to move into our side hustles now.
Hey everyone, Spencer here, founder of Niche Pursuits. So you probably know the importance of building internal links so your site can perform well in Google. Today I want to share how Link Whisper can help you add outbound internal links to your articles. As you draft your article in WordPress, Link Whisper scans your site, identifying the best internal link opportunities. It then recommends the perfect anchor text and link to add. With just a click, your content is updated with new internal links. No more expensive tools or tedious manual site searches. Link Whisper does the heavy lifting right inside the WordPress editor. Say goodbye to the hassle of internal linking. With Link Whisper, you can focus on what you do best, creating great content. Use the coupon code PODCAST today and get $15 off. Elevate your website's internal linking with Link Whisper now. Building smart internal links just got easier. Go to linkwhisper.com today and be sure to use coupon code PODCAST to get $15 off.
I don't remember if I shared my results for last month for my Facebook bonus program. I know I talked about it
you
one
shared
or two times ago.
Results. You did share January's results.
Results that were just over $5,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I had a record month in January for my Facebook page, and it's still going strong. And I had some stats that I can share. So let me share this screen.
And to
I
be
just
clear,
had a
some people might have missed that episode where you shared January's results. So it's good to go over them again.
Yeah, exactly. So I have here the last 28 days, 30 days results of this Facebook page. And this is just showing the total number of views. So 28.6 million views on my Facebook page. The reach, 9.5 million, 379,000 content interactions, and then an additional 5.2 thousand followers. So the number of views you can see is down about 5% compared to January. So January was my highest month ever. I just broke the $5,000 month in total Facebook bonus earnings for that month. So huge. Now it's down a little bit. But what I see fascinating about these numbers, so let's take the number of views, for example. 28.6 million views is down 5%, but it shows from followers. So of that 28.6 million views, only 6% of the views came from followers.
Yep.
94% came from non-followers. And this is just something important to reiterate for people that maybe aren't as involved in Facebook, is that's just the name of the game. Yes, it's cool to say you have 100,000 followers on Facebook or 50,000 or whatever, but that number is largely irrelevant because only 6% of my views come from followers.
Mm-hmm.
Most of your views come from Facebook just showing it on other people's feeds that don't even follow you, right? And so that's just one fascinating takeaway from this month. And you can sort of see the bar charts that, it sort of showed I was down in the middle of the month. It looks like more recently I've been back up.
Yeah.
Right. But my earnings, and I'm going to need to go back over to my document, are just over $3,500. Yes, $3,500 this month. I've got like a day left, right? So it might be $3,600 ish or something like that. So it's down about $1,400, but still, hey, a solid income. It's kind of just a life on its own in terms of I have a virtual assistant that is managing the Facebook page. She's producing content, publishing it. And I sort of open it and look at the stats and share it here on the podcast once a month. That's basically what I do. So no, I do a call with her once a month, and we exchange a couple of emails here and there, but for the most part, it is pretty hands off for me.
I mean, have there been any, I guess I would ask, like, it just seems to be motoring along. It sounds like January is it like when you look at the niche you're in, does it make sense that January is so much more in terms of earnings? Because that 3,500 number, I feel like that's a number that you were at November, December-ish, You've kind of grown into that $100+ a day sort of number.
Yeah.
January spiked. Like, is it, I'm going to talk about in my side hustle, why January makes sense to have higher numbers than February. Like, does that translate for you, or is it just kind of, I don't know, just...
It could be. There could be something there. On the surface, I'm not finding any reason. It's not particularly seasonal or anything like that. It could be at New Year's, a lot of people are making changes in their life,
Yep.
And so it could be something tied to that, but I don't think so. I think we just probably had a few posts do really well that went really, really viral. And, that kind of brought in the extra $1,500 or so.
There you go.
Yeah. So,
well, congratulations. It's another absolutely amazing stat and business that keeps on going. When did you get into the program? Was it May, June, something like that?
Like it was, might have been like July, actually.
July. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Last summer, something like
amazing.
that. Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
Yeah. It's been great.
I guess that means I'm up.
Yes.
I don't have any cool graphs and stats to share. I'll give you some good news and some bad news this week.
Okay.
I guess bad news, not great news. But yeah, so for starters, I did tease it last week that I would kind of share numbers from my my food website that was hit by the helpful content update, and we're using Pinterest traffic instead of organic search traffic. And In January, it had record earnings. So it was over $4,500 in earnings in January.
Wow.
And, the holidays and then January, February are good months for those websites because of the kind of content they talk about and what people are searching for and stuff. So the holidays were good. And then January was really good. And kind of like your Facebook page, February's numbers are in for me. They did go down a little bit. Ironically, you and I made about the same amount in January, right? You're at 5,000. I was about over 4,500. And mine went down to just above 3,500 for the month of February. Couple of things. I mean, February is 28 days, whereas January is 31. So right there, that's a 10% less number of days. So, 3,500 turns into, 38, 3,900. So it's not as big of a drop as it sounds on paper. And it makes sense. A little less popular. Some of the categories are a little less popular as you get more and more into the springtime. So, but anyways, still so cool. Just kind of continuing to try to find good topics to share about on Pinterest and capitalize on people's interest in the topic. So that's some good news, I would say, overall.
Yeah, no, that's great news. And roughly how much traffic is the site getting? Do you recall either in January or February?
Off the top of my head, it got around 125,000 sessions in January and around 75,000 sessions in February.
And
so, RPMs are going up. The traffic's coming down, but the RPMs in January are pretty low. When you look at the whole year. So RPM, the traffic was very high in January, and then the RPMs are coming back up a little bit. So that's kind of counterbalancing a little bit of the drop in traffic.
Yeah, and the bulk, like over 80% is coming from Pinterest, over 90%, or
I'd say 80 or 90%. Yeah. We just re-kicked off the email list. If you go all the way back to the summer, we were kind of trying a two-pronged approach of email and Pinterest. Pinterest took off, and so we only have so many hours in the day, so we just put all of our resources into that and kind of paused the email part of it. But now we're finally back to kicking off the email again. So hopefully that'll grow. Hopefully, we've been capturing people from Pinterest. Some people end up on the email list, and they've just been kind of getting a little welcome sequence for the last 6-7 months. So hopefully now, the Pinterest traffic will turn into email subscribers, and email subscribers will turn into more traffic back to the site.
Yeah. Well, I understand that you have some bad news as well. Unfortunately, that is great news. So let's celebrate it. Good job, Jared. But what's your bad news?
Amazon influencer numbers for February were bad. They were not good. January was amazing. Remember, I was talking at different times about how, man, the Q4 party just seemed to continue into January. And it was around the third week of January, the 24th, the 25th, somewhere in that range where you could just see it all change, right? And we've seen this pattern before where Amazon influencer, they'll adjust how they're doing carousels, how many they're putting in the carousels, where they're putting the carousels on the page. They'll only do top carousels or bottom carousels. They'll change some things. And, I've been in the program for nearing 2 years now, you a little bit longer. Like, we've just seen this over and over and over again. So not surprising. I know that they're getting rid of Inspire, right? So they're getting rid of that. They might have already gotten rid of it. I know they announced it. They announced Amazon Haul, which is this kind of, I would say, sort of TikTok marketplace competitor of sorts. It's not directly, but it's kind of cheap stuff, very vertical video focused. So no doubt you can see from a high level, they've been playing around with stuff. My numbers for February came in at just over $1,000 in earnings. So
that's quite a change.
Definitely a drop, right? I was hovering that $3,000 to $4,000 range, and I think January was just under $3,000. But that represented like a doubling over last year in January. And so, what does that mean in practicality? So, for starters, last year in February, I made about $1,700. So I did go back and check. So it's lower, but it's not like February has ever been a good month, anyways. March did rebound last year. March rebounded to the tune of more than double what February was. Not seeing those signs yet, although seeing a little bit of improvement. Little bit of analysis. It's a click thing, right? There's just not as many people clicking on my videos. So that could either be because I've lost placement to some of those carousels, but generally when you see it kind of across the board, it just all points back to, again, a shift in how much traffic they're pushing to these videos and stuff. And so,
Right.
as we've said before, just hopefully it comes back. I have no control over it. There's nothing I can do to change it.
Yep.
I still am only uploading 10 to 40 videos a month. So it's still not exactly a bad return for what is a very little amount of time I'm putting in. I'm not doing the 100 videos a month like I did in the beginning. So, perspective. But yeah, February wasn't great.
Yeah. Yeah. But that does happen. Like you said, Amazon is maybe just tweaking the layouts of the videos. That leads to less clicks. And maybe they'll change that in, this month in March. But so, well, it's good to have the update though, right? I think it's just as important to show people that, hey, you have these big record months, but realistically in business, you always almost have a down month, right?
Yeah.
And the challenge is being able to ride these ups and downs, this roller coaster of business, and hopefully in and up on a high note at some point, right? So
it is a roller coaster, and to your point,
Yep.
like it's not always, up and to the right. And so hopefully people can, nobody ever likes to hear kind of bad news or negative news, but hopefully people can get kind of encouragement from the fact that like, hey, this stuff happens, and it's happened before with influencer. It's rebounded before. Could this be the time it doesn't? Sure, but more than likely it will. And, on and on we'll go.
Yep. Well, very good. Well, I'm sure you'll provide more updates on future episodes here. So stick around for people listening.
You got it.
To that. So, all right, we will move on to our weird niche site segment here. And, you mentioned that I'm doing a lot of YouTube videos, which is true. And in my recent YouTube videos, I've been reviewing 4 or 5 or 6 sort of weird niche sites every video. And so I now have a backlog of, 30 plus, weird niche sites that I've never talked about here. Maybe more than that at this point, probably more. But so I just dug into my little, basket of weird niche sites, and I randomly pulled one out, and here's what we got. But so Jared, have you ever wanted to see visually how tall you are compared to, say, an NBA player?
Oh boy.
Or to an object, or anything like that.
It's funny because this past summer, I was out on a family day and we were riding the ferry here in San Diego, and I ran into Bill Walton, who lives in San Diego, or maybe it was 2 summers ago. Might have been 2 summers ago. And a couple summers ago, I think, before. Anyways, I was shocked by how tall he was. So speaking of ex-NBA players, it was a couple years ago, actually. But yeah, I was like, whoa, so it's funny you mentioned that. That's the first story that came to mind.
There you go. So that's what this website is all about. So let me share this website. It is heightcomparison.com. And all that it does is it allows you to input your height or anybody's height, right? So let's just say, I don't have to ask your height. I'm going to guess. Let's see, Jared.
I'll share it. I don't mind. I don't mind sharing it. It's funny because you don't know, because I just sit here, right? So no one actually knows if I'm tall or short or what I am.
What are you, 5'10"?
On the dot.
Is it? Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. You and I have only ever met once.
I didn't.
That's amazing.
We met before. Okay.
That is like the average male height in America for clarity. But yes, that is my height.
I think we can just add the episode now. I nailed it. I think we're good to go. Right. So if I add Jared, let's give him a blue avatar. Right. There you are. Okay. There's Jared.
Okay.
And then we can click on the celebrities tab.
Oh.
And let's actually see if Bill Walton is in here. He is.
Okay.
Look at that. So that Bill Walton is 6'11", almost 6'12", and this gives us a visual comparison of what you guys look like next to each other. You come up to his shoulder, basically, right?
Yeah, I'm only up to his shoulder.
Who's a like really short celebrity?
Danny DeVito.
There you go. So let's look at Danny DeVito, and there he is. And there's Danny DeVito at 4 foot. They even put him as like a small child. I like that, thin bone structure. So that it compares, your height. You can go on and on. You can put other people, you can put your spouse or children, right? But you can also do entities, right? So you can come in here and it looks like we got the thinker statue, which, okay, apparently it's only 2 foot
Not very big.
height, not so big. We can put the Statue of Liberty, which, that just kind of ruins the comparison there. So let's get rid of that. We've got a car, the White House. What else? The Titanic. Anyways, you can go, there's all sorts of things that you can put in here. And you compare the heights. And, it's kind of fun to do. It's got ads all over it. You can see every time I move, like an ad is refreshing, right? I don't know how many times ads have refreshed on this page, but there's like 5 or 6 ad units just on this screen by itself. That's basically all it does, right? Like that's pretty much the website, but it gets a ton of traffic. So I went over to SimilarWeb and it gets 2 million visitors a month, like on the dot.
Wow.
2 million.
Wow.
That just blew my mind because it had never crossed my mind to like check my height comparison to anything, right?
I mean, it feels gimmicky. I mean, like what am I going to do with that data? But it gets so much information or so much traffic. I mean,
just tons of traffic, and a lot of it, a little over 1 million visitors a month are coming from organic search. So as you might imagine, people are searching things for, oops, I shared the wrong thing. They're searching for height comparison, height difference chart, size comparison, compare heights, that sort of thing. Apparently, a lot of people are Googling this thing. I never thought that was a high traffic, sort of search niche.
Yeah.
But it is. And so they're getting like half their traffic from search. The other half is probably, direct or repeat visitors that know it exists at some point and they're coming back. And so final image that I'll share here is if we were to do an ad revenue calculator, because it makes money with display ads, with 2 million visitors a month, 1.65 page views per visit at a $5 RPM, that's $16,500 per month that this little niche website is probably making. And it could be making much more if we put in, a $10 RPM. I don't know what the true
ad units, you have to wonder if it's not getting more than $5 per,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but it had at least 3 or 4 ads above the fold in the visual as you were. What do we got? The left sidebar. We got the above the fold, right below the menu. We've got the bottom sticky footer, and we've got a sticky video ad on the right side.
Yep. And then as I scroll, it's just more large ad units, all over the place. So the ad density, right? It could be making $30,000 a month.
Yeah. No, it really could
for all I know, right? So, anyways, just kind of a cool, like it gets the wheels spinning for me. Just thinking, like, what's just some simple, almost like you said, gimmicky thing that's we've done a lot of calculators, but comparison things.
I imagine
they could be like this. Yeah.
I imagine this is very shareable, right? Like I wonder how I see the share button in the upper right, but like, you send this to your friend and you're like, oh my gosh, like I never knew I was so much taller than you. Or did you know you're not much taller than Danny DeVito? Yeah. I just, favorite singer, you could send it to them and be like, you've never been on stage with that person singing, but boy, if you were, you'd be, I don't know, just a lot of share components here.
Yeah, exactly. So, kind of cool.
That's a good
fun little niche site. Yep.
Well, it's interesting. You quickly flashed by it. I noticed it was a DR, 26, I think. Very low DR, right? Getting
that's right, 26.
A million visits a month from organic search with a DR of 26. I have a very similar story to my site.
All right.
And so if you want to pull it up, it is spellbee.org. I'm going to be sharing a couple weird niches over the next couple of weeks that were shared with me by the person I referenced last week that I met at that live event. Gavin with his Zoic was like, I listen to the podcast all the time, and I've got a lot of great weird niches for you. So he sent over a couple of them. This is one of them. And this is so this is fun. You revealed before we started recording that you've been to a similar one. You've been to a similar site, very similar. We'll just say very similar and leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly. And I reviewed it. It'll be reviewed in an upcoming video. So it's funny. I just recorded the video yesterday,
That's so wild.
but this is a different site, but it's like the same site.
I didn't drop it in the agenda until this morning either. So there's no way
Yeah.
you saw it. You and I
I
were
had
just
no
on
idea.
totally different pages,
Yep.
but on the same page. So it's obviously meant to mimic kind of a spelling bee. It's not the way I thought it was. So if you want to hit that question mark up in the upper right, we can kind of use that to describe this game. So you basically how to play, create words using letters from the hive that you see there and try to get the maximum score. So you got to have words that are at least 4 letters. They must include the letter that's in the center of this game. You can use letters more than once, and then you get points. So 4-letter words get 4 points. Or no, 1 point each. So I think 4 points, and then longer words are another point. So you get 5 points or all that. And then each puzzle includes at least 1 pangram, which is 7 points. I don't even know what that is, which uses every letter. Oh, that's what it is. So you have to use every letter for that. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay.
I mean, I will say English and vocabulary was never my strongest subject in school, but I found this to be a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So can we create a word out of this? I got one. Trek. Trek. And so that is.
Let me get.
There you go. That is using the center letter, which is R. And there we go.
Yep.
So we got only 1 point for that. So, man, what else?
Boy, we're gonna look terrible here.
You and I are.
You
Trout.
can't do
Trout.
Oh, there you go.
That's a 5-letter one. How many will we get for that?
That's solid.
Okay, 5 points for that. So now
Plus
we're at 6
5.
points. Now, Spencer, if we get 4 more, we'll move from beginner to novice. Think we can get 4 more?
Oh, man. Well, we got tour.
There you go. That'll be 1 point.
There's got to be a WR in there somewhere.
Yep.
Route. There you go.
How about, is route a word? ROUTE.
Yes.
There we go.
It is indeed. Oh, man, we are.
Okay, we got 5 more to okay status. Do you think we can get to okay status live here on the podcast?
I'm hopeful.
Treat, TRE. No, there's no A.
You already did Trek.
Trek. Oh man, we're gonna blow up here.
This is gonna be bad.
True. True. That's a 1
Oh, there
pointer.
you go. There you good. It's got to be another.
Oh.
Well, that's a word. No. Oh.
Did you already get wrote? WROT?
I did.
Oh, you
I
did. Okay.
That's the one I did.
Dang it.
People are going to be looking at this, go like, just click the, it's right there in front of you.
And
why aren't you seeing it?
Can you start with the letter R, or does it have to be used in the middle? I can't remember.
Yeah, you can start with it.
So maybe route, RO.
I think you did that.
Root, we did root. Shoot, I'm just going with the same ones I've already done. We need 4 more to hit Nava. Okay.
We failed.
Yeah, we did.
As we keep talking about this.
Oh, it says what you've done up there at the top, by the way.
Yes, it does. So,
well, we're novices. We can leave it at that. Okay, so
is that a word? Oh, sauerkraut. Come on,
sauerkraut.
Right.
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm all out. If you go to the Ahrefs, it's a very similar story to what we were talking about with your site. It's a DR28, so I think yours is a 26, DR28.
Yep.
So it got 413 linking domains. It only ranks for 5,000 keywords, and that is an estimated 450,000 organic traffic per month.
Wow.
And so if you look, it's all the spelling bee, all these kind of things that you would have kind of expected to be.
Right.
Let's see, what else do I have here? So, according to, I think it was SimilarWeb, I was also talking, I was looking around. I think I saw somewhere that it gets, in actuality, with all of its sources, 2.7 million page views per month.
Yes, and I happen to have SimilarWeb pulled up.
There it is. So I did. I saw it in SimilarWeb. Okay.
That is confirmed.
SimilarWeb, 2.7 million page views. So clearly there's a lot of like direct traffic, sharing power there, social media power,
Yep. Direct is a huge source, right?
That just screams direct traffic. You bookmark it and you go play it when you're, when you need to kill 5 minutes.
Exactly. So it's crazy. It's tons of traffic.
I mean, it's just an insane amount. Here's what I think might be the most interesting thing about it. This was created in September of 2020. It's just over 4 years old.
Yeah. Hasn't been around forever.
So it's got ads on it. It's got a vignette ad. It's got all sorts of stuff. I would say the ads are less prominent than your weird niche. I just did some back of the napkin math, kind of like you did. I mean, if it's getting $10 RPMs, it's making $27,000 a month.
Wow. That's
I don't know. I guess the ads are
bad.
pretty. It's probably got roughly as many ads as yours did.
Yeah, pretty much.
Actually,
I think the other one had a banner
ad
at the top or
but
something.
yeah,
but that's
other than that,
pretty
it's the
similar.
same.
Yeah. So,
I'm blown away. And again, this would be a little more complex to build, but it's nothing. It's not rocket science.
Yeah. No. Not at all. Not rocket science. You could, yeah. And it's not. What I find fascinating. Maybe not this case, right? You don't want to copy them, but there's lots of different ways you could do a spelling game, right? You just format it a little bit differently instead of a hive, right? You don't have to necessarily invent a new game.
Yeah.
You say, oh, I want to go down the spelling bee route. Just think of a slightly different way that you can have people find words in a cluster of letters or something, right?
Well, it wasn't even the way that I assumed it was going to be when I arrived, right? Like I thought I was telling you, like maybe it'll play a word read out loud and I try to, spell it there for you or something like that. So it took me a little while to even figure out how to play this game. There's got to be a million different ways that you can kind of run down the same path.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm just bummed we can't find another word here. Can we do this? Is that a word? Truer.
Yeah.
There you go. We got you good.
We are okay. You saved the day. I'll take okay any day.
we're in the okay zone.
C's
we're
get
good to
degrees,
go.
Spencer. Don't worry about
it. That's right. So, but
nice work. 23 points.
Yeah, my wife, I don't know if she plays this game, but she plays spelling games like this like all the time. So I can see a lot of people, they love their sort of daily games that they do. They pull them up, play them for 5 or 10 minutes.
What is it, Words with Friends?
No.
Is that a popular one?
That is a popular one.
That's like a Scrabble kind of knockoff or something like that? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. So we could do like probably a whole podcast on just spelling games or word games that are successful. You've got your Wordle, your Spelling with Friends, your Spell Bee. You've got all kinds of them. So a good find. And just funny that I found a very similar website so if you watch there's a tease, right?
Yeah.
Watch my video. It'll probably come out like next Wednesday on my main YouTube channel. Check it out. You'll see the sort of sister site to this website that was revealed.
Which one's getting more traffic? The one you're featuring or this one?
Well, I didn't check. It's pretty close.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
It is pretty close. The one I had was, I don't remember. It was definitely over 1 million. Maybe over 2 million. I don't remember exactly, but yeah. So both are getting a lot of traffic.
It's fun. It's fun. I tell you, like you said, it really gets the juices flowing. I just get interested. Yeah, but
it does indeed. So there's lots of ideas out there. A lot of people, think of interesting niches that you can go into. Hopefully this sparks some ideas for people. But overall, that's the news. That's the update on our side hustles, the weird niche sites. Really appreciate everyone listening in. Thank you very much.
Have a great weekend.